owned by Vince Lombardi. Gary Anderson kicks it off. And fielded by Tim Lewis, and Lewis busted out to around the 39-yard line. Lewis, a rookie from Pittsburgh, and when he becomes a starter, Trump, he'll be the 10th player to perform for Pittsburgh in 1980, now starting in the NFL. Dickey's running backs are Eddie Lee Ivory and Gary Ellis, who earlier this week was hobbling around on a cane after dislocating 3 toes against the Oilers. Every one of those receivers is a Pro Bowler: Lofton, Jefferson, and Kaufman. And there's the offensive line with McCarron, their first offensive line Pro Bowler since Gail Gillingham a decade ago. On first down, the carry goes to Eddie Lee Ivory, and a flag goes down. As we sort that out, let's take a look at the Pittsburgh defense. 3 different starters from a week ago. They are racked by injuries, which we'll detail for you in a little bit. For Keith Gary, former #1 pick who went to Canada for 2 years, his first NFL start. Merriweather in for the retired Jack Ham, used to be his backup. Lambert, 8 straight Pro Bowls with Taves and Cole. Call is holding against the Packers. And the secondary. Another look at the linebackers, in case you forgot. And the secondaries, Woodruff and the great veteran Blunt at the corners. Shell and Johnson are the safeties. 1st and 20 with the ball pushed back to the 29-yard line. And again, Eddie Lee Ivory. And Ivory in his 4th year out of Georgia Tech gets maybe a yard on the play. Last week against Houston, he carried 12 times for 71 yards. So a good game for him in the opener.
Bob, what every football team in the NFL wants to avoid is what the Packers now have to contend with, and that is 2nd and long yardage. Now Pittsburgh comes with their 4 defensive linemen. You can expect a blitz. You can expect a special coverage here. I take it back. They have only got 4 healthy defensive linemen, so they come with just 3 up front. This is what Green Bay wanted to avoid, that 2nd and 18 situation at all costs.
In motion, Jefferson, tight end Kaufman on the right, Lofton to the left. They pop it over the middle for Kaufman, but incomplete. Robin Cole, the defender closest to it.
Offenses are so much at the mercy of a defense when you have 2nd and long yardage. That's when the real out-of-the-ordinary defenses are now played. As you can see, it's now 3rd down and 18. 3 different players come in for Pittsburgh. Linebackers come out. They'll have 5 defensive backs. Bob Coors in the ball game. And now Dickey will be throwing against 8 guys, 7 guys in coverage.
Speedy little Philip Epps, number 85, in his 2nd year out of TCU, comes in. So they go with 3 wide receivers. 3 incredible targets for Dickey: Epps, Jefferson, and Lofton. But they go instead with the draw, and Gary Ellis is a mile short of what he needs. Did the whistle blow? It might have. And he was wrapped up.
Well, that's one series. You hate to open the game that way, but I think the Packer offensive coaches, Bob Snelker, the offensive coordinator, said, look, holding call on the 1st down. Let's not turn the ball over here. Hope to get better field position, see if our defense can stop them, and next time we get the ball, we'll do better.
Rick Woods, the return man. Paul Scansey did the returning last week, but pulled a groin muscle. Bucky Scribner to kick. Woods at the 30. Dances out to the 42 on a good return. Cliff Stout leads the offense out. Walter Abercrombie injured his neck late in the Denver game, but he is in the starting lineup. Franco Harris had just 27 yards in the opener. Stallworth, Calvin Sweeney for the retired Lynn Swan, and Benny Cunningham are the targets. Jim Smith has gone to the USFL, so he's no longer a Steeler. The offensive line, Peterson is in for Ray Pinney, who's gone to the USFL. Mike Webster, the 5-time Pro Bowler, is the anchor. First series for the Steelers. The give is to Abercrombie. Good yardage on 1st down. 4, perhaps 5. Mike Douglas, who had 12 unassisted tackles last week against Houston, makes the first stop of the game for the Green Bay defense.
Very active linebacker, weighs no more than 215 pounds, can run down most running backs you'll find in the NFL. And I think we see what Pittsburgh plans to do, and that is feature those guys running the ball a great deal.
2nd down, 5 with Sweeney in motion. Franco gets the call and the first down as he bursts up the middle and into Green Bay territory. at the Packer 42.
The Green Bay Packers, you'll notice the defensive line has a new person in there. Last week's starter, Terry Jones, out with an Achilles tendon. Rich Turner, making his first start this season at nose tackle, is up against Mike Webster, the all-pro center of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's got his hands full.
A look at the linebackers with Rich Wingo in. They've had some injuries to that unit as well. And Wingo is forced to start with Randy Scott now out for the year. Abercrombie's struggling. Short yardage, perhaps 3.
Same play backside instead of Franco Harris. They give it to Walter Abercrombie. And the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has historically been a great trap team. As you look at the defensive backs of the Green Bay Packers, they'll be doing a lot of tackling up close to the line of scrimmage today. The Steeler offense, short of stature, big muscles, great trappers, good foot speed, and Mike Webster can handle most nosemen by himself.
Abercrombie on the sweep, but cut down quickly. George Cumby was the tackler, number 52, one of the inside linebackers.
Bob, you notice the defense of the Green Bay Packers, their linebackers, inside linebackers, at times are 6 yards off the football. It is absolutely paramount that the nose man, Rich Turner, control Mike Webster as best he can so those two inside linebackers can flow to the play and make the tackle. Look how deep they stand.
They need 4 on third down. Greg Hawthorne is in the backfield. The handoff to Franco. He's got them the first down. Franco Harris is across the 25-yard line of the Packers. Franco had a couple of fumbles last week against Denver, 2 of the 7 turnovers, which thwarted the Steelers. He is about to become the third man to go over 11,000 yards. He'll pass O.J. Simpson this year, and if he can stay healthy, probably pass Jimmy Brown next year.
Well, if Green Bay doesn't stop traps like that up the middle, Pittsburgh will do that all day long. Of course, run time off the clock and keep the offense of the Green Bay Packers off the field.
From the Packer 24, Franco again trying to stutter step around, but can't do it. Up from the secondary, Mike McCoy with the stop, number 29. We played 5 minutes of the first quarter. No score, but the Steelers driving.
Very quiet in Lambeau Field. Cleveland over Detroit, 7-0. First quarter score.
And on the draw, Abercrombie.
Trap again. Up the middle. Mike Webster, as long as he can handle Rich Turner by himself. Number 52, the All-Pro center. They're 75 out of Oklahoma. And if they can handle... Whoops, we changed it now. That was a quick turnaround. Detroit now leads Cleveland 7-0 in the first quarter. Pittsburgh is very good. They'll come back with the same play over and over and over again. And until you stop it, they'll run it right down your throat. This is what they could not do last week. Run the ball.
Third down, 3 wide receivers. Harris, the lone setback, gets the pitch. He's gotten them 2 first downs so far, and he has another one here. They've gone to him on third down now 3 times in this drive, and he's gotten the yardage they've needed every time.
Even with the number of times Franco Harris had carried the ball, at his age, he still looks like a spring chicken out there. Joe Gordon of the Pittsburgh Steelers said his weight has not changed in almost 7 years, and he is now over 11,000 yards for a career. That is a memorable moment.
Casey Merrill made the stop. Number 78, the left end. He has already carried the ball, Franco has, more often than anyone in NFL history. So he cannot match the average per carry of an O.J. Simpson or a Jim Brown, but he may surpass their totals. Abercrombie, not much, inside the 10. Ezra Johnson, number 90, in on the stop. That Packer defensive line has been racked by defections and injuries. Mike Butler goes to the USFL, and then they lost their starting nose tackle, Terry Jones, for the year last week. And as we mentioned earlier, starting linebacker Randy Scott also sidelined for the season, and Rich Wingo is back as a starter as a consequence.
Frank Pollard into the lineup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Better blocker than Abercrombie. They
give it to Franco. inside the 5.
Well, they've certainly found a weak spot in the Green Bay Packer defense, and they're going to continue to exploit it. And once the Packers get to the sideline after this drive, I'm sure they'll try to get together and try to straighten that out. But so far, Green Bay has had very little success stopping Pittsburgh up the middle.
The ball at the 3, they can get a first down at the 1. And on the third down play, Franco bursts into the end zone. Franco Harris, who scored their only touchdown last week against Denver, gets the 95th of his career. Last week he broke out of a tie with Jim Taylor on the all-time touchdown list. And his next target, well, there it is another former Packer, the great wide receiver, Don Hudson.
This is entirely too easy. The Pittsburgh offensive line dominating the line of scrimmage, getting a big blow in the Green Bay Packers defensive line, and Franco is untouched until he gets to the end zone.
The touchdown drive accomplished without a pass completion. Gary Anderson connects. And quickly the Steelers go in front 7-0 with 7 minutes and 13 seconds to play in the 59 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. Anderson kicks. Lewis fields at the 2. Tim Lewis had a good return his last time, but can't get outside this time, smothered at the 20. The good news for the Steelers is the touchdown. The bad news, John Stallworth aggravated a hamstring injury during pregame warmups and may not play at all today.
So that means that Green Bay now has to stop the running game of the Pittsburgh Steelers the next time they're on the field. They cannot allow that to happen as easy as they went down the field. There you see Stallworth. No ice on the back of the leg, but he'll be a sideline coach today.
A week ago, Lynn Dickey opened with 18 consecutive completions, too short of Ken Anderson's NFL record established last season. Pitches this one back to Mike Mead, a second-year man from Penn State. Very short yardage before the Steelers bring him down. Last week, Dickey's numbers, 27 of 31, 333 yards, 5 touchdowns, tying a Packer record. Cecil Isbell and Don Horn had done it before him. And he did it all with migraine headaches brought about as a reaction to an injection he took to try and combat a virus. Second down 7 with 6:20 on the clock. Dickey has time, but he misses Jefferson.
Flag down. They're going to call it on Lauren Taves. Late flag.
John Jefferson no longer wearing the goggles, which were a trademark of his for several years. He got scratched in the eye and missed a couple of games in 1978 and started to wear the goggles. But now he says that problem is cleared up and they were just too inhibiting, especially on warm days where the sweat would cloud them up. So he's discarded them.
You know, at times they become a security blanket. Goggles or a special pad that a player wears. Here's the call.
Illegal contact. Number 56. First
56,
down.
Robin Cole. I believe they meant Lauren Taves 51, but nevertheless the flag.
Fred Silva is the referee. Bart Starr's club went into the playoffs last year, beat the Cardinals handily in the first round, and then gave the Cowboys a heck of a battle in Dallas before they bowed out. From the 28 on 1st and 10. Dickey with the play fake and lots of time to take it up top. He wants Lofton, who's open. He's got it, and he'll outrun him to the end zone. Last week, Trump, he got one for 74. This one went 72, and they're a point away from a tie.
One of the things about the Green Bay Packer offense the last couple of years, big plays. They have James Lofton was judged the best athlete in the NFL, and he beats probably the best cornerback in the NFL in Mel Blount.
Now Stenerud, seemingly ageless, tries to tie it at 7 and does. Stenerud, a big week against the Oilers, which included the overtime field goal, which won it from 42 yards. He also connected from 46. We're tied here at 7. 3 plays later, most of it shoot up on the 72-yard completion to Lofton for the touchdown. They were in the end zone. Henry Odom, a rookie from South Carolina State, fields the kick and brings it back to about the 23. Last week against Houston, on 7 kickoffs by Stenerud, the best Oiler field position was the 26. So Stenerud, 17 years in the league, can still get the job done.
Now we'll see if Pittsburgh continues to just trap up the middle.
No sign of Stallworth. Sweeney to the right, Hawthorne to the left. Abercrombie not in for this play. It's Pollard who joins Franco Harris. And it's Franco who carries. Having the memory of the bad game last week behind him, he started quickly here. Turner and Wingo on the stop. Rich Turner, the nose tackle, starting in place of the injured Terry Jones, and Rich Wingo at an inside linebacker spot for the injured Randy Scott.
Head football coaches, Bob, are copycats, number 1, and 2, creatures of habits. And as long as Pittsburgh can get 5 yards on first down, St. Louis over Dallas 7-0.
Jim Hart is starting for Neil Lomax. Hit Roy Green 39 yards on a touchdown. Pollard bangs out to about the 28-yard line, and it's very close. Check it, the 33-yard line is what I meant to say, and very close to a first down. Washington goes in front, Theismann to Brown. 12 yards and a touchdown, lead the Eagles 7-0.
Here's the offensive line with Ernie McMillan in the yellow jersey. Used to play with the St. Louis Cardinals. He was the coach, the offensive line coach, instructing his men. My concern is for the Green Bay defense.
They got the first down, the Steelers did, on the last play. Here's Pollard through a gaping hole. And Pollard is out to the 44-yard line. A gain of very nearly 10 on that carry.
Bob, you mentioned last week that the Green Bay defense gave up an awful lot of yards and an awful lot of yards to Earl Campbell. And you'll watch the All-Pro Center, 52 on Turner. Turner takes the side, and Webster from about maybe 100 miles north of here, Rhinelander, Wisconsin, playing for the first time in Lambeau Field. And this is more of a church than it is a football stadium. He had to get 60 tickets for close and personal friends today.
And he's a University of Wisconsin product, Webster is, playing in his 147th straight game. Franco Harris, a big series on the initial touchdown drive. You mentioned Earl Campbell last week for Houston against the Packers. He had 123 yards, including a couple of touchdowns late, which sent it into overtime. Pollard. This time they're ready for him. Only a couple on first down. Wingo with a stop.
Excuse me, Bob. I think that's just a changeup. Once again, a big bow on that Green Bay Packer defensive line. Defenses can't put pressure on offenses the way this is shaping up here. Defenses have to stop offenses. You can't count on James Lofton catching more than one 72-yard touchdown pass in one given football game. It's only possible with their receivers, but the defense does have to stop your opponent eventually.
Inside 4 minutes to play first quarter, tied at 7. That's Pollard in motion. Fake to Franco, Stout spun down. Mike Douglas, who was one of the few Packer defenders singled out for praise after last week's effort against Houston. He had the 12 unassisted tackles. He gets the sack on that play.
Very active linebacker. Not very big either, although linebackers nowadays in the NFL are not particularly big. He goes in at about 220 pounds, got great foot speed, and I was rather surprised at that call. The Pittsburgh Steelers were doing very well, and then all of a sudden, Stout calls a rollout.
Archie Manning hit on 22 of 34 a week ago against the Packer pass defense. Stout will get it in the air for the first time, and he connects with Sweeney. Sweeney makes the catch, but he's short of the first down. Stopped near midfield by Mark Lee, number 22.
Okay, the Green Bay Packer defense does stop them. Good protection. And generally you want the receiver to run the route deep enough to get the first down. Calvin Sweeney last week was Cliff Stout's prime target. Just comes back to the football. Good recovery time by the defensive back, but the receiver has to run deep enough so that he can come up with a first down. They're about 4 yards short.
Colquitt, who won his kicking job back from John Goodson after sitting out last year with an Achilles tendon injury, gets it into the end zone for the touchback. So the Packers will take over at the 20-yard line. It's a 50-yard kick by Colquitt. Clock stops with 2:23 to play, first quarter.
For the Green Bay Packers, as you watch the play once again, it's Lofton underneath, trying to clear the linebackers out, and that was really zipped. And Lofton, 27-foot long jumper at Stanford, and a very, very gifted athlete. But as I was saying, this is homecoming for the Green Bay Packers. They have about 65 or 70 Packer alums here, and they had a party last night. Art Rooney was the guest of honor.
His first trip to Green Bay with the Steelers 50 years ago, 1933. The grand old man of the game, Art Rooney. Dickey firing to the sideline and almost intercepted. There's a flag down on the play as it was broken up by Dwayne Woodruff, who had 5 interceptions last year and was the Steelers MVP in a vote of his teammates.
Holding Green Bay once again now at the mercy of the defense. Watch the secondary here. This is that double rotation zone. No, it's not either. It's a weak side zone. And you'll see the coverage at the top. Woodruff almost man-to-man on the receiver. Good recovery time.
So the Steelers refuse the penalty and will take the ball. Bucky Scribner will punt, a rookie from Kansas who won the job from Ray Stackowitz during training camp. He averaged 35 yards a kick on 3 punts last week. Woods is back deep. Booming kick this time by the lefty Scribner. Woods lets it bounce, then fields at the 25 and down at the 27.
Good play. Excellent coverage by Green Bay. Bob, a lot of times you can tell the emotion of the team by the special teams. And so far, Green Bay seems to have it.
He was the opposing quarterback when John Elway debuted for Denver. He had an ironic observation about that. He fumbles, he picks it back up, and he hits Abercrombie. And Abercrombie is gumped at the 46-yard line, but a first down on the play.
Now, Bob, good play-action fake. Even though Stout dropped the football from the snap, you'll see the linebackers think it's a run. Harris, that's that fake trap that they've had success with. Abercrombie sneaks down there, and they're in the man within 6 yards of him. A good, safe completion by Pittsburgh, all set up by the success of the run.
And they get 19 yards. After last Sunday's game, Stout Riley observed, I thought with all the talking about Elway, I could just sneak in and play, but now I have to sneak out through the alley.
Someone asked him what he's going to practice most this week, and he said...
All right, thanks, Lenny. Back here at Green Bay, Bob Costas and Bob Trumpy. We start the second quarter with Pittsburgh in possession, and Abercrombie trying to get outside. He sheds a tackler and then skips out of bounds. Abercrombie is in Green Bay territory. And got about 4 on the first down carry.
Second and 6.
Stout pretty much on his own out there. Chuck Noll has great faith in Cliff Stout. Said he's not about to go away from Stout. He's calling most of his own plays. Only if we have problems will I help him out. I have faith in his ability.
Just his 3rd NFL start. He has thrown touchdown passes in relief, but never as a starter. Harris.
Good.
A couple.
Okay, now Green Bay has got their linebackers coming forward, and of course they're sacrificing some in coverage. But apparently the defensive coaches are, watch the first step, up, both of them, inside. They're going to fill those holes as quickly as they possibly can, at least try to neutralize. You see Wingo standing up, of course, in the left guard, and they hold Franco to about a 2-yard gain.
Third, and we'll call it a long 3 in the opening minute of the second quarter. Tied at 7.
Looks like they're running right. There it is.
All that. Franco, he gets them the first down again. Franco Harris could be on his way to a very big day. He's had 42 100-yard games in his career. Last week, as we mentioned, he had but 27 against Denver.
Good offensive surge by the line. They're able to cut off the linebackers, and you can see Hawthorne 27 with a good block up front on Murphy, 37, and that allows Franco Harris to go untouched through the line of scrimmage. Look at the average yards gained on first down. Marked difference between the two teams, and probably the most indicative stat nowadays in professional football for the offense.
Pollard Pollard runs smack into a stone wall on his first down carry. Well, the Steelers, that play notwithstanding, have been the team which has driven the ball. The Packer offense consists of a 72-yard heave from Dickey to Lofton, and we're even at 7.
And, of course, the time of possession, vitally important for both football teams. Green Bay had it for 1 minute and 4 seconds and scored, and Pittsburgh has basically had it the rest of the time.
2nd and 9 from just across the 35. Stout, who played or wore a uniform for 56 NFL games before ever actually playing in a regular season game, keeps it on the ground on 2nd down with Pollard carrying, and he got about 7.
Well, it appears this ball game, as most are, going to be won or lost at the line of scrimmage. Watch Larry Brown, 79, top of your screen. A little late off the ball, but when he gets into people, Casey Merrill, he's got a good surge, and you can see Webster on Turner again, had him a good 5 yards deep, and it's now 3rd down and 1.5 yards. That is a very, very physical, intimidating offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Muscle Beach East, as it's known. Hawthorne in motion. Franco, the first down and then some. Franco to about the 17-yard line. Every time they've called on him in a 3rd down situation, 5 by my recollection, he's gotten the yardage they've needed.
Well, there's not much to this. There's nobody there to stop him. The interior line of the Green Bay Packers on the ground, smothered by the Steelers' offensive line, and the problem continues. That's not a bad quarter and, 4 minutes for Franco Harris? Historically, a very slow starter.
First down from the 17-yard line. Sweeney right, Hawthorne left. They lost the ball, but Stout covers it up and willingly accepts the 2-yard loss that goes with it.
Never really got it into Pollard's belly. And, of course, you would expect better of Cliff Stout, but as you can see, he really has to stretch out, and it kind of hits Pollard on the hip. And Stout does make the recovery.
Well, what a different attack from the tail end of last season. Jim Smith to the USFL, Lynn Swan retired, John Stallworth hurt, Terry Bradshaw, elbow surgery in March, on the injured reserve, and he says it's going to be at least another 6 weeks before he's back, so the attack is in the hands of Stout, who gives it to Pollard, trying to turn the corner and banged out of bounds. The ball was loose, but it was out. And so is Pollard at about the 13.
One of the things the Green Bay Packers defense can do with their 4 very, very active linebackers is get to the sideline. So far in the first quarter and a few minutes, the Steelers have had great success up the middle, very little success to the outside, and that's because of the speed and the activity of those linebackers. Now comes the 5 defensive backs for the Green Bay Packers.
A field goal from this distance, a virtual cinch for Gary Anderson. But to keep the drive going, they need 7 on 3rd down. To the corner of the end zone and almost. Greg Garrity, the rookie from Penn State, got a hand on it. A good effort. The coverage by Maurice Harvey, number 23.
Garrity makes the mistake here. Watch 86. He breaks too deep. He should try to break to the sideline, make him a better target for the quarterback to throw to. Harvey's able to get underneath and break up the pass.
Now Anderson from South Africa. Never saw an American football game till he came to this country to go to college. 10 of 12 last year, and one of the 2 he missed was a 56-yarder. 1 of 1 so far this year, and it's blocked. The ball is loose and covered by Colquitt, the holder, who at least prevented a return. Gary Lewis, number 81, I believe, reserve wide receiver, got in there to block it for the Packers, who take over at the 31. The 7-all tie is preserved with 10:56 to...
Now Lewis in the ball game at a double wing set for the Packers.
And Dickey to the air on first down. The screen is to Lewis. Lewis with a chance to be a hero. To midfield he goes for the first down. Lauren Taves, who suffered a concussion last week against Denver, which knocked him out of that game, but returns to start today, makes the stop after an 18-yard gain.
Let's watch him. All he does is set up like he's going to pass block, lets the defensive line pass behind him. He gets in front of 3 big offensive linemen, and that's one way to pay off a good job on the special teams. give the young man a reception. First down, Packers.
Gary Lewis, not to be confused with the rock star of the 60s. Remember Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Trump?
No, I don't.
What's the matter with you? Eddie Lee Ivory up the middle and spinning away. Eddie Lee Ivory outside to the 33-yard line. Tom Beasley, number 65, who is seeing double duty both at nose tackle and at end today, had to chase him down.
Once again, we talked earlier about the big play Green Bay Packers. Eddie Lee Ivory certainly a part of that. Once he popped through that defensive line of scrimmage, well, he had about 8 or 9 yards before anybody made contact with him.
A gain of 18 to the 32. Almost it popped right out of his hands and into the arms of Ron Johnson. There's a flag down on the play. For the moment, it's Steeler ball at the 30.
Some days it just isn't worth showing up. Offsides, Green Bay, Pittsburgh will have the ball. And what are the odds of the ball popping out of his hands directly to Ron Johnson? I mean, it looked like a handoff. Watch, Gary Ellis gets hit. The ball is right there. To your right, Ron Johnson. Room service. And he's got it. Pittsburgh ball. In time, and he's been rewarded.
Quarterback of 5 NFL championship teams. Walter Abercrombie, #1 draft choice a year ago, hurt during preseason in '82 and didn't play until after the strike. Cardinals, who usually give Dallas a tough time, lead 10-0 in the first. Neil O'Donohue from 23 to up the advantage. Cleveland, Detroit, as Len Berman told you a moment ago on one of our updates, tied at 7.
Ball on the 34-yard line of Pittsburgh.
Abercrombie got 3 on the last carry. 2nd and 7. Scott has lots of time. Throws it in between 2 defenders and connects for a first down. The catch is made by Abercrombie, whom they plan to use much more this year as a pass receiver, Trump.
In between McCoy and Douglas for the reception. An excellent receiver with great physical tools. And, of course, the tools mean nothing if the quarterback has no confidence in you. Obviously, Stout does. That is now 3 of 4. And that's an excellent catch. Good concentration on the football. And good defense also by the Packers. But it is a first down for Pittsburgh.
Clock winding down toward 8 minutes to play in the half. Franco into Green Bay territory.
Well, they're going to stay with that play, as I said, Bob, until Green Bay figures out a way to stop it. And the only way they have stopped it is to bring their linebackers up flush to the line of scrimmage. And, of course, that takes away the pass coverage. But good trap offense, and offensive line by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're going right at the nose man Turner.
Steelers' first down yardage has been consistently good, and Harris gets 9 on this play, leaving them plenty of flexibility on the second down call. They've been pretty conservative so far. And it stays that way. Abercrombie gets the first down.
Same play.
He's stopped by Mike Douglas, an outside linebacker who's compared favorably to the likes of Hugh Green,
yes.
Lawrence Taylor.
Yes. Certainly a big play man. But once again, Webster, 52 on 75, Rich Turner. When he can handle him by himself and turn the guard loose on the linebacker as he folds around, it's a great advantage for the offense.
There's Mike Douglas, just a 5th-round draft choice 6 years ago with San Diego State. Stout with a play fake and a world of time. They've done this one over the middle and connect with Sweeney. Calvin Sweeney, who has a backup, the last several years averaged more than 20 yards a reception, but was firmly in the shadow of the likes of Swan and Stallworth and Smith. He comes through with the big reception here.
Wow, excellent job by Stout there, looking off the safety. He was looking to the left. Hawthorne was there. You'll watch him. And, of course, the safety looks that way. And Sweeney comes behind the safety, 24, and he's there to make the reception. Big gain, first down.
31 yards on the play. And Franco. The flag goes down as Franco does W02 at about the 7-yard line.
Holding Pittsburgh. Well, we certainly know where Pittsburgh's bread and butter is today. And that is the short trap up the middle, which they have executed to perfection so far.
Last week, Chuck Noll watched 121 yards in penalties walked off against his team.
You see the trap up the middle. Once again, Webster on Turner. Webster's able to stand him up, and they may have called the flag on him. 52 white, Mike Webster.
Those are not the kind of stats you want to lead in. Turnovers and yards penalized. They outgained Denver badly last week, but virtually handed them the ball game in a 14-10 loss. A leaping catch by Hawthorne, who then runs over people to the 1-yard line. The Steelers are saying touchdown, but I think it's going to be spotted inches short of the goal line.
That'll be a first down, and there was a blown coverage there by the Green Bay Packers somewhere. Hawthorne was basically standing by himself to the left. I don't see any blitz. It's a total zone coverage, and somebody messed up badly. The cornerback McCoy just didn't take away that area, and of course Maurice Harvey, the free safety, is standing back there. Look at that. Should not be a completion. There should be somebody there to get in the way.
23 yards to about the 1-foot line. Harris and Abercrombie are the backs. Hawthorne in motion, sneaks out, touchdown.
Well, once again, right over the middle. Webster doing a fine job on the nose tackle of the Green Bay Packers, and it's an easy touchdown.
The first career touchdown for Cliff Stout. We told you earlier he was on a roster for 56 games, qualified for a pension, took home 2 Super Bowl rings before he ever played in an NFL game. That's the way life is when you're Terry Bradshaw's backup. Anderson, who made 72 conversions in a row at Syracuse, has this one blocked.
Jim Lewis again. 81. He blocked a field goal earlier, an extra point this time, and some coaches feel that's like nullifying a touchdown. Harry Lewis.
And now it's going to be Tim Lewis who'll field this kick. It is confusing. 26-yard line is all he gets. Harvey Clayton, number 33, a rookie from Florida State, reserve defensive back, made the team as a free agent. He makes the stop. There are no players, as you look at what the Steelers have done on their possessions today, no players on the Steeler roster who have played in a regular NFL game for another team. They're all draft choices or original free agents.
Look at those. That's very efficient offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Green Bay Packers must stop them, and they need a big play right now. They've got the people to do it, too.
Maybe a yard. Robin Cole is in on the stop.
Packers now going with 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and lone running back Eddie Lee Ivory. You see the messenger guards moving in and out there. Sid Kitson, Drexler, rookie out of North Carolina, being replaced from Bob Snelker. Would you expect up top here?
It worked once for 72 yards to Lofton in their only touchdown. Lofton left, Jefferson right. Dickey protected well. You called it, Trump. He wants Lofton, who runs past the defender. Goodbye again. He can dance home. Sure, why not?
James Lofton now has 3 catches, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I said there's no way the Green Bay Packers can count on Lofton to come up with more than one 72-yard catch per ball game. Well, he didn't. He had one for 73. Big play offense.
He beats Blood again. And this year he's got touchdowns of 72 and 73 in this game and 74 a week ago against Houston. Stennerud. Flag down. The kick was good, but let's wait. Fred Silva is the referee.
Good pass protection. Dickey just throws it up there, and Lofton is very deceiving at 6'3". You can't really judge his speed, but he is a world-class sprinter. Great height and great athletic ability. And Bob, he is beating an excellent defensive back in Mel Blount. That's not a bad average. 3 catches, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
The call is against Green Bay. Stenerud will have to kick again. Right now, Jan Stenerud is 20 points behind Jim Turner on the all-time points scored list. Stenerud is 3rd. He'll overtake Turner, but George Blanda is just about out of sight. He might catch Blanda for career field goals. Blanda has 335. Stenerud 319. But, of course, Blanda scored some touchdowns in his role as a quarterback, so his total points are beyond everybody.
This is going to be amazing. There are 4 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the first half, and if they make this conversion, they'll be ahead of Pittsburgh, and I'll bet they haven't had the football 6 minutes.
Well, it works that way if you can connect from 72 and 73. Offsets all the hard work on the Steeler drives. This kick is true by Stenerud.
Give up one. They don't care. They go back and do the same thing again.
They kick it short, but it winds up bouncing to Oldham at about the 10 and down at the 16-yard line. Mark Murphy, number 37, makes the tackle. You know, Trump, we saw the stat on the screen about Denver's situation, only 1 yard net passing, but the Broncos were harassed by the Steeler pass rush with 7 sacks and many hurries against John Elway and company. So far, they haven't pressured Dickey at all.
Let's watch Mark Murphy go all the way down here. 37, defensive back. These are called used to be called the kamikaze squads. Now 1/3 of the game plan, and vitally important to the success of your team.
Pollard into a stone wall. It's a loss of 1.
Now you can see what that defensive play by Murphy does for the defense. It elevates their performance. Excellent play by Wingo, cutting off Pollard. And that's what special teams do for a football team. If they go out there with enthusiasm, with emotion, they set the tempo for the rest of the team offensively and defensively.
2nd down, 11. Sweeney and Hawthorne both to the left. Stout has time. He hits Cunningham, the tight end, his first reception. He's close to the first down. As they line it up, let's check with NFL 83 in New York.
Thanks, Bob Costas. Brian Seif also has 2 touchdown passes today. Not as dramatic as in your game, but here, 6-yarder, the dive by Mike Pruitt. Cleveland takes the lead over Detroit 14-7. Back to you, Bob.
All right, thanks, Len. The connection to Cunningham got them the first down barely. Stout has been pretty well protected, like Dickey. He has been sacked once, but that was on a short drop kind of play that couldn't truly be attributed to classic quarterback pressure by the Green Bay defense. He swings this one out to Pollard, and Pollard does a nifty bit of running to get to the 35-yard line. They get 8 on first down. Last week against Houston, Green Bay managed just 1 sack.
Got a flag down on the play. Looks like they're going to call it back by Pittsburgh. You mentioned the fact that Pittsburgh has had good protection for Stout. My guess is it's because they've run the ball so well. The linebackers in that situation don't know which way to go. Here's the call. Illegal procedure. I think they called it on Benny Cunningham, tight end.
So instead of 2nd and 2, it's 1st and 15 from the 21. Stout has been efficient thus far, as those numbers reflect. All the time you'd ever want. Throws on the run. Franco makes the catch. A year ago, as the Steelers began to change their offensive philosophy a little bit, Franco led the team in receptions. The first time a running back had done that since Frenchie Fuqua in 1971.
And, of course, with Terry Bradshaw at quarterback, he can throw the ball down the field and hope for a great play. Usually got it done.
They got 7, 2nd and 8, 2-minute warning. All he's averaging is about 48 yards a catch today. 2 minutes to go in the half, and Stout throws it over the head of Pollard. They'll have 3rd and 8.
Good coverage by the Green Bay Packers.
There's Mark Malone, former #1 draft choice in 1980 out of Arizona State.
You see the second long yardage. The defense certainly has the advantage. Look at those safeties back up. Linebackers underneath. You got 7 guys in coverage there, and even though Stout has time, extremely difficult for any quarterback to make a completion for the first down. Now 3rd and about 7.
Garrity, Sweeney, and Hawthorne, 3 wide receivers in. Again, time. It breaks down, but Stout squirts free. Stout still on his feet. Lunges for the first down, and it's awfully close.
Looks like he's going to be short. Richard Turner, the nose tackle, makes the tackle. They had a 4-man rush there. Once again, 7 guys in coverage, and you can see there's just nobody for Stout to throw it to, and he has good athletic ability.
At 6'4" and 218, he's not afraid to run. Tried to reach the ball across the stick, but they spotted it a bit further back. They'll have 4th down. 1:34 remaining.
See why Stout had to scramble. Watch the coverage. 2 deep safeties, man-to-man underneath. They're underneath the pass receivers in line between the quarterback and the receiver. Nobody to throw it to, and therefore he gets tackled.
The Packers, who've been able to strike quickly twice, called a timeout. With 1:34 left, give them a chance to put something together here. It's a very short, full-quick punt, and out of bounds at the Green Bay 33. Colquitt's kick is good for 32 yards.
I think they would have hoped for better. Now, Green Bay certainly has excellent field position at the 33-yard line, and we've already seen an excellent display of the big play people that Green Bay has. Now, Epps and J.J. on the far side. Lofton this time on Dwayne Woodruff at the bottom. Passing set.
And lots of time over the middle, incomplete. Jefferson was the target, described by Lou Carpenter, the receivers coach for the Packers, as having the best hand-to-eye coordination of any athlete he's ever seen.
Look at the Packers' yardage of 160, 142 goes to James Lofton. Robin Cole on the coverage there, linebacker coverage underneath. And now Green Bay is in a situation where with just 1:22 left, pretty much at the mercy of the defense. Nice spot for a draw play.
Dickey from that big quarterback draft in 71. Plunkett, Manning, Astorini, Dickey all came out that year. Dickey from Kansas. Connects. Ellis making the catch. They don't have to use a timeout as Gary Ellis gets out of bounds just shy of the 45.
Green Bay has done an excellent job of protecting the quarterback. Here you see a blitz. 90 Coors. Willis inside. Coors comes free, but Dickey has got the guts that all quarterbacks, good quarterbacks in the NFL, need. Stand in there, take the hit, still go for the completion. First down, Green Bay.
Last week when Dickey did so marvelously well despite the migraine headaches, it prompted a cartoon in a Milwaukee newspaper. A couple of guys in lab coats looking at vials, and they said, "Gentlemen, our mission is to find out the virus which infected Mr. Dickey and give it to the defense." Get them to play a little better than the 38 points they allowed a week ago. Ellis again. They're getting close to Stenerud range. Ellis upended at the 38 of Pittsburgh.
Timeout called by Dickey. Hurry. They can be very, very conservative here and still get the points they need. Split backs. That's the passing set for the Green Bay Packers.
Lofton right. The other 2 wide receivers left. Hold everything.
On the defense. They may call it on Bob Coors unless they determine that Dickey was illegal procedure offense. I'm telling you, I don't like that. A lot of times you'll see defensive players jump. Now, there's a rule in the books that if the offensive man goes forward, it's called on the defense. And if the offense goes back, it's called on the offense. And all he's doing is reacting to the defensive pressure there. And now first down and 15 for Green Bay. I don't think I'd blame Lynn Dickey if I looked in the direction of James Lofton.
Again, he's set off to the right. Epps and Jefferson left. Comes once, rolls left, flag down. So is Dickey, who is not the most mobile of quarterbacks. He's had a broken leg in the past, all kinds of injuries. Pretty much a pocket passer now.
First sack by Pittsburgh. They'll probably decline the penalty, holding Green Bay. Decline the penalty and make it second down at about 25. Let's see what happens here.
Saw Chuck Noll indicating they don't want the penalty. So it's second down and 21.
This is when quarterbacks want the coach on the sideline calling the play. Second and 21.
Minute 4 left. Pack has one timeout remaining.
Flag again.
Incomplete with Lofton in the general vicinity, but Blunt and Woods were both there. Dickey might have been hit a little bit late. At least that's the way the Packer fans view it, but that's not what the call is.
Well, now Pittsburgh getting a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. Once again, two deep zone coverage, man-to-man underneath. And even though Dickey tried to throw it out to, is that Lofton? He was certainly well covered and was throwing it away in desperation. They'll take the penalty.
Number 61, holding.
Dave Drexler, the rookie out of North Carolina, the messenger guard, guilty.
Buffalo jumps in front of the Bengals. Your old club has their troubles. 3-0 in the second, Trump. Dallas comes back with a touchdown. Cardinals had led 10-0. Second, and they've got to go to another time zone for the first. This is what's known as trying to fool them, and the result is known as it didn't work. Third and massive yardage needed, about 30. And now they're not anxious to stop the clock. 35 seconds left. Lob out to Eddie Lee Ivory. Back into Pittsburgh territory at the 48 where he stopped.
Not all you can do. Try to throw it underneath the coverage. And, of course, Pittsburgh is going to make sure that nobody gets deeper than their deepest man. They'll give up that much yardage.
Service by the National Football League. It was the Packers, strangely enough, who called that last time out. Well, they have to kick. Scribner. Woods is taking no chances. He lets it bounce into the end zone for the touchback.
Bob, I would guess the only reason they called a timeout is they may have told the official before the play, after this play, I'm going to want a timeout. And any motion by any player on the team, they may, with just 28 seconds left, figure, well, we might get one more offensive play off. So it was kind of an automatic timeout, part of the 2-minute offense that teams have.
So now the Steelers, who have all 3 of their timeouts remaining but are 80 yards from the goal line, I'd be very surprised if they do anything but run out the clock here, Trump.
Well, maybe give it one shot, hope for an interference call, or maybe just a hope shot. They've got receivers with excellent speed, although Stallworth is out. Sweeney's good. They got Garrity on this side.
Well, you were right, Trump. They're going to try for it once. It's a little lob to Franco. They get but 5 on it, and they call a timeout.
Offenses hate a long time before he can throw.
Stout pumps once and airs it out. He wants Sweeney, but it's way beyond it. 3 seconds left.
Well, Pittsburgh will go in shaking their heads with the ball possession that they have had and the running yards that they have amassed in the first half to be down 14-13. to the Green Bay Packers, they got to be wondering, what do we have to do to win a football game? Last week, they allow Denver 1 net yard passing, 7 sacks, and lose. And this week, they have the ball almost 3 times as much as the Packers in the first half and are behind by a point.
The Steelers' 13 points have been built on tiny building blocks on long drives, whereas the Packers can point to 4 plays for their 1-point lead here. Pollard's going to run the clock out, but he's going to add to his personal total with a nice game. The Gary Anderson field goal blocked by just 5 or 6 years.
That they're going to be ahead, and yet they're behind by 1 point.
Henry Odom is back deep to receive Stenerud's kick starting the second half. The rookie fields it at the 1. 20 and not quite to the 25-yard line.
Now the most important thing for us to watch is the approach of the Green Bay Packers defense. And that 34 defense, the Pittsburgh Steelers, as you once again look at the offense, it'll start the second half. And Stallworth is not in, has not played it down. That has been Greg Garrity. Offensive line has done an outstanding job against Green Bay. Let's see if they go right back to the run, exactly as they started the football game. Very successful at it then.
From the 23, Stout gives it to Abercrombie, and Abercrombie goes absolutely nowhere.
Well, Pittsburgh was going to try. There seemed to be a little exchange problem between Abercrombie and Stout. Pittsburgh, Green Bay that time, good penetration. Merrill, Turner, and Johnson up front. Active linebackers for the Green Bay Packers. And defensive backs who generally in the first half have done an outstanding job in coverage.
Abercrombie in motion on the 2nd and 10 play. Stout protected well. Good job by the pass defense, though, and finally Hawthorne pops open, and Greg Hawthorne has the catch and is driven out of bounds at the 42-yard line. It's a first down.
Maurice Harvey, free safety on the tackle. Excellent job by the receivers there. Once again, the initial coverage was outstanding. And then, of course, McCoy, 29, kind of went away from the coverage. And Hawthorne standing there virtually by himself. Watch the blocking up front. Webster, there was a blitz by Cumbie. He's got all the time in the world. 1,004, 1,005. Scans the field not once, but twice. And any quarterback will kill you in that situation.
And finally, they wind up with a gain of 18. Now the pitch to Abercrombie. They almost had him in the backfield. As it is, they stop him at the line of scrimmage. Cumbie on the stop, number 52. Trump, aside from the fact that it's an early season game, well, let's take a look at this replay.
They have had difficulty running the corner. Very active, quick people at the linebacker spot. You see 1, 2 of them right there to fill. Ringo and Cumbie. That's the design of the defense. They line up 6 yards deep, and they pursue sideline to sideline.
2nd and 10. We've played less than 2 minutes in the second half. Almost caught from behind, instead drills it in there, and it's caught by Abercrombie, who snuck out of the backfield. He's in Packer territory at the 42 for the first down.
Taking advantage of a strong safety in coverage with a wide receiver. That was Johnny Gray, 24 in coverage. They had their 2 receivers on the same side of the field. Their 2 outside receivers. 17 yards on the catch, another first down. And I thought they'd come back running those traps up the middle. Maybe Cliff Stout wants to get on the board and get on the board in a hurry. Time of possession did them no good in the first half.
Franco Harris. Franco on his first carry of the second half. Wedges out perhaps 4. Franco is the 2nd oldest running back in the NFL. At 33 years of age. John Riggins, the world champion Redskins, at 34, the only one older than Franco.
Franco's got 78 yards on the day. On 12 carries. Make that 82 yards.
In his 12th season, he's missed but 9 games in the 11 years prior to this one.
There we go.
Pollard, who carries, and Pollard has a first down as they move to the 27-yard line of the Packers. John Anderson, the left outside linebacker, made the tackle.
Trap up the middle. This is becoming certainly bread and butter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Green Bay has had very little success stopping this all day long. You see how deep those linebackers are. Corson on Wingo gets a good hit, and then Pollard breaks the tackle. That's another, what, 6 or 7 yards on a trap up the middle.
11:30 on the third quarter clock. Steelers trailing but driving. Franco started up the middle, now tries to go outside. Cumbie couldn't bring him down, but then he got plenty of help. Short gain for Franco.
Now what happens for the Green Bay defense? With Pittsburgh's ability to run it up the middle, they've got to cheat a little bit. Do something out of the ordinary. Blitz the linebacker. Keep him up closer to the line of scrimmage. Anything to try to disrupt the powerful offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then that makes them vulnerable to something else. Very telling stat right there.
And they were hit for 6 plays of 25 yards or more, the Packers were, by the Oilers last week. But their offense just simply outgunned Houston. A little motion on the line there. I think Cunningham might have been offside.
No flag, Bob. He's got to be set for a second, and I think he jumped and then was set for a second, and the play counts. On the offensive line, once again, we've been featuring Mike Webster from Wisconsin. We'll watch him on Turner. That's Corson on his right, 77. All-pro center. Look at that double team. They roll him out of there. Wingo makes the tackle coming underneath the block. That's not good enough. You need a nose man that'll stand him up there. Now 4 defensive linemen for Green Bay.
3rd and a long 2, perhaps closer to 3. Franco. You can see the stick, and he got to it. There are those who have been critical at times of Franco Harris's running style, Trump. He has been known to go out of bounds rather than take a direct hit. However, when you need the extra yard, he'll lower his head and get it for you. Sometimes discretion, the better part of valor, and one of the reasons why he's been around so long and of so much value to his team is that he's been wise about when he decides to take a lick and when he doesn't.
Correct. He's very similar to Simpson, Walter Payton, and of course Jim Brown of Cleveland. They very seldom take a direct hit. They have that great body control. I'll take Walter. I'll take Franco Harris no matter what he does or what they criticize him for.
Pollard carries on first down for a couple, maybe 3. Started to say earlier, Trump, except for the fact that this is an early season game, so you don't have the classic aspect of snow falling or cold temperatures, true fall or winter conditions. This is an intriguing matchup because despite what Dallas supporters may say about their being America's team, and certainly they can lay claim to that with their great success and popularity, for a large portion of America, especially blue-collar America, these 2 teams, the last 2 decades, are the teams of legend and the teams that they feel most affectionately toward. The Packers in the 60s, the Steelers in the 70s. Stout pumping. Changing his mind a couple of times, then sidearming through the end zone and incomplete.
Throws it away. He still had an awful lot of time to throw back there. Green Bay, with no sacks last week, must start getting to the quarterback. Well, we've been featuring the center all day. Here's Webster. That's a great offensive line and pass protection. Look at the time that they have. They're running back and forth. And he ends up, Wolfley gets Rich Turner on the ground. Incomplete pass. 3rd and what, 8, 7.5?
Close enough. 9:05 left, 3rd quarter. Stout wants the 6. Broken up and nearly intercepted in the end zone by John Anderson.
Very lucky that was not intercepted, although Stout threw the ball into the ground. Trying to make sure that if it's not going to be caught by his man, it's not going to be caught by his opponent either.
So now it's Gary Anderson to kick, and the last 2 times, one a field goal, the other a PAT. It's been blocked by Gary Lewis. Keep your eye on number 81 here. Anderson, unless they're blocked, is almost unerringly accurate.
Oh, they got tricky. See what they did? Pittsburgh pulled Larry Brown out of the line, and he went for Gary Lewis just to disrupt his jump. Field goal is good, and Pittsburgh goes.
Anderson connects. Last year he made 10 of 12. As a senior at Syracuse, he made 17 of 18, and the only one he missed was a 48-yarder against Navy. Now he puts this one out of the end zone for the touchback. It's hard to believe that Anderson wasn't taken until the 7th round last year by Buffalo. Then they waived him, kept Nick Mickemeyer, and the Steelers picked him up, and what an addition he's been.
To make it even more incredible, when he came from South Africa, he just showed up at the Philadelphia Eagles tryout camp, and he was kicking extremely well. And when they asked him how old he was, he said 17. They said, we can't draft you. There happened to be a guy there from Syracuse who said, we'll offer you a scholarship. They did on the spot, and he became one of the most prolific kickers in Syracuse history.
The 1-2 punch of Jefferson and Lofton go out to the left. The handoff to Ivory, and he gets a couple on first down. And we tell you that today's game is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. By Holiday Inn, a better place to be. For reservations, just call 800-HOLIDAY. And by Honda, the world's largest manufacturer of motorcycles and ATC three-wheelers. Follow the leader. He's on a Honda.
Near side, Jefferson top side. Lofton once again on Blunt.
Dickey on 2nd and 8. Finds the tight end Kaufman, who made a Pro Bowl trip last year. And they have the first down at the 33.
First time in the history of the NFL that 3 starting receivers from the same team are in the Pro Bowl. These 3, J.J., Lofton, and the receiver here, Paul Kaufman. A very active, a very quick tight end, good receiver, tenacious blocker. And Dickey's got time once again to throw the football, even with people in his face. First down, Green Bay.
Rolling right and throwing back left. They set up the tight end screen. As Kaufman makes the catch, he's got blockers, and he's into Pittsburgh territory at the Steeler 48.
Got a flag down.
A gain of 19, but let's see what the flag is about. They're talking to the Packers.
It's going to be against the Pittsburgh Steelers. John Jefferson said holding defense. Rather unusual. Now, let me make this comment about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have not gotten to Dickey today. But of course they left 2 defensive linemen home. They only have 4 healthy defensive linemen here. And last week they were using 7 defensive linemen and just interchanging them at various positions. Obviously now Pittsburgh is somewhat strapped defensively.
Fred Silva with the call, much to the displeasure of Chuck Noll. Gabe Rivera, their first-round draft choice out of Texas Tech, known as Senior Sack. He's out after a concussion last week against Denver. Tom Beasley has seen action at both the nose and the outside today. John Goodman still out with a sprained knee. Gary Dunn injured a knee last week, and he's out. Keith Gary starting his first game in the NFL on the defensive line today for the Steelers.
Len Willis, same way.
And the pitch back to Ivory, who throws the option pass. It's a wobbler, but it works, and Kaufman is the man of the hour with his 3rd consecutive reception.
First, let me make a correction. Keith Willis. Here you see Kaufman. Obviously, Green Bay going to the last page of the playbook here. A throw back to the tight end. Motion inside by John Jefferson. Not pretty. There's a little bit of a turn on that football.
A little?
Well, he gets it to Paul Kaufman. Watch Shell. He thinks it's a reverse. He sees Jefferson coming. And all of a sudden, Kaufman sneaks out there. You can almost fair catch that one, but it's a first down Green Bay.
At the 35-yard line of the Steelers. They fake the pitch. They throw it out to Lofton, trying to get him some room, but they hem him in. Flag down on the play as well.
Now, that's generally in the spot where you have an offensive lineman and an illegal push in the back. Trying to get the receiver up underneath that first defensive man standing out there. Illegal use of the hands. That's an illegal push in the back. That happens a great deal on the quick screens to the outside, trying to get their big play man, James Lofton, loose. Can't blame them. They've gotten tricky here. Haven't they in the second half really gotten tricky? Green Bay has.
Offense, number 74. Illegal block above the waist. First down.
Tim Huffman, he's the man who pulls out. You'll see right there. He pushes the linebacker in the back, and that is illegal.
6.5 minutes now to play third quarter. Steelers 16, Packers 14. First and 20, Green Bay from the Pittsburgh 45. Jefferson in motion toward the ball. Dickey steps up out of trouble, but then goes down.
Taves flushed him. Linebacker blitz from the inside.
Last year, the Steelers had 34 sacks, a very high figure for the shortened season. Philadelphia has gone in front of Washington now, 10-7 in the third. But of those 34 sacks last year, 19 came on blitzes by the linebackers or the defensive backs. Last week, when their defensive line was healthy, 6 of their 7 sacks came from the defensive linemen. And that's the way you want it, because otherwise you don't leave your defensive backs in jeopardy. The ball over the middle to Kaufman again, who struggles for it. Let's see if they rule it a completion. They do not. It's incomplete.
Yeah, that's an incomplete pass. You're right.
Incomplete pass.
Last week, of course, that defensive line was the real plus for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But with all these injuries, it's turned into a real weakness. Watch the secondary here, Bob. 3 deep in coverage, man-to-man underneath. Ricky steps up, ball delivered. That's an incomplete pass. You got to have 2 feet down after you make the reception, or it is no reception. And the third down and long yardage.
3rd and 24.
Epps at the bottom of the screen here, in tandem with Jefferson.
Eddie Lee Ivory will have to punt.
Packer fans don't like that. But the Packer offense was staring at 8 guys back in coverage. You don't want to turn the ball over.
So, Trump, on the subject of those sacks, I guess it is important where they come from, not just how many you get, because if you can get that pressure from the defensive line and let those backers and the secondary people worry about pass coverage instead of getting the sacks from blitzes, in the long run, you're going to be better off.
Absolutely. You leave 7 guys back there in coverage. Inside the 10. Excellent kick by Scribner.
Scribner drops it down at the 9, so bad field position for the Steelers. Ray Nitschke, Ozzie Thurston, Don Hudson, Tony Canadeo, Blood McNally, and others. Franco Harris just trying to get him some room. A flag goes down as Franco gets a couple out to the 11.
Holding Pittsburgh. Well, I'll tell you what. There's some more Packer alums. Can you pick any of those guys out? Name who they are. See if we can see someone that we might recognize.
One guy who's broken training years after his retirement with a cigarette in his mouth.
Holding. Number 52. Decline.
Mike Webster, the center, we featured him all day long. That's the second holding penalty he's had today.
Second down 8 with 5:04 to play in the third. The Steelers lead it by 2 at 16-14. Begin to get the feeling that the 2 block kicks, especially the block point after by Gary Lewis, could become crucial. Franco Harris across the 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 3.
They're staying with it. Staying with it. Traps up the middle. Buffalo now on top of Cincinnati 10-3. Pass from Ferguson to Gary Butler. That's Jerry Butler, I believe. 15 yards, and they go on top. 9:53 left in the third quarter.
Colquitt's going to be kicking from close to the goal line if they don't get the 3 yards plus they need now. Well protected, drills it in there. They've got the first down as Hawthorne makes the reception at the 23.
Franco Franco Harris now at 100 yards rushing on 16 carries. And when Franco Harris carries the ball for 100 yards, the Pittsburgh Steelers win. Their winning percentage is truly astounding. We'll try to find the stat for you, but it's like 52-4 or something when he gains 100 yards. Ball possession, although it did him no good in the first half.
Saw the list of 100-yard rushers headed by Jimmy Brown at 58. Fake to Franco. Stout wants Sweeney. Perfectly delivered, but just barely out of bounds. That was some throw by Stout, whether it's a completion officially or not.
Couldn't get his back foot down. He's got the ball, trying to drag his back foot. It looked like his front foot landed right on the out-of-bounds marker. You can see the official straining to see where that foot is. Good call. It looks like his foot hit the out-of-bounds or the sideline. No completion. 2nd and 10.
You know, Trump, when you look at those all-time rushing figures, the touchdowns, the total yards, the 100-yard games, and all the great names, the name of Jimmy Brown just shines brighter than ever because he heads the list in all those categories in many fewer seasons. And in an era when some seasons were 12 games, and then it went to 14, never a 16-game season. So what he was doing per time he played was just remarkable.
Yeah, he is the only running back in the history of the game to average over 100 yards per game for his entire career. There it is, 43-4. And Franco Harris just went over 100 yards.
The Eagles and the Redskins tied at 10 in the third. The Eagles had led by 3 till Mark Mosley hit from 36 late in the third quarter to tie it. Stout firing for Sweeney again. Oh, what a catch! First down at the 42-yard line of the Packers. A perfect throw, very nearly perfect coverage. The defensive back just barely missed it, and Sweeney's concentration excellent to haul it in.
He's got time to throw. This is extremely well thrown. You see the corner underneath him, safety behind him. And Sweeney with good concentration on the catch, 33 yards, and a big first down for the Steelers.
Let's pause briefly here, Trump, for station identification on the NBC television network.
WLUK 11, Green Bay.
Last 3 minutes of the third quarter. Stout to the air on first down. Scrambling and has some running room now. There's all kinds of daylight in front of him. And gets out of bounds.
Whoa! Into the saxophone. Plywood. And Stout slips, but another big first down.
He took a harder hit inadvertently than he would have if he had gone head-to-head with Mark Lee, who was anxious to give him a belt.
Good coverage by Green Bay. Nobody open, but there's also no pressure. He's got plenty of time and sees the linebackers deep and drop. He's got good foot speed. And then watch this abrupt end. Yep. Yes, sir. 23 yards on the carry. Whoa.
For the most part, these quarterbacks, both Dickey and Stout, have had all the time you could ask for today. Abercrombie, the reverse to Hawthorne. Stout blocking in front of him, throws a good block, and Hawthorne squirts down inside the 5. First and goal, Pittsburgh.
Well, that shows Stout's ready to do anything for the football team he can. Abercrombie to Hawthorne. That's that power block by that quarterback. Yes, sir. I think he alters the course of the defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers an iota, maybe an angstrom, no more than that.
An angstrom?
An angstrom, that's a little bit.
Is it even smaller than an iota?
Much smaller. About 1/10 of an iota.
Infinitesimally so. First and goal. Just inside 2 minutes to play in the third. Franco lost it. Oh, the Packers are upset. They had a crack at it, and Pittsburgh keeps it.
Normally a very sure-handed ball carrier. They let that one kind of slip away. There's Noel on the sideline. He may help Stout in this situation down on the goal line. And they'll go to a separate set of plays. Inside the 20, now inside the 5. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they keep trying to trap up the middle. Now second down and about 1.5 or 2. They've had great success doing it. Green Bay with 4 defensive linemen in there. Look how deep the middle linebacker is. He's standing 4 yards deep in the end zone. They ought to just go a quarterback sneak. Good hit. Excellent hit.
Franco Harris shook to his toes by that hit.
Johnny Gray, George Cumbie. I realize they've got about 2.5 yards to go, but if you see the middle linebacker of the Green Bay Packers, he's a good 4 yards deep, and at the snap of the ball, he's coming forward. It's outscored on a quarterback sneak in the first quarter. It's there again.
3rd and goal for Stout from the 2-yard line.
Trap up the middle. Good penetration by 73. Byron Braggs of the Green Bay Packers catches Abercrombie in midair. Gary Anderson for the field goal as the quarter expires.
So they'll have to kick it at the
What legends are made of if Green Bay can stop them.
Frank Pollard in for the touchdown.
Very easy, too. Great offensive thrust by the offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tremendous push up through the middle. They just rolled those defensive linemen out. And, of course, you got to understand, watch the left guard. Look at that push. They got 2 defensive linemen and a linebacker standing in the end zone. Pollard made it look easy.
For the 23rd point. This one unobstructed and through. 14:59 to play in the game, and Anderson gets set to kick it off. They held it for more than 5 minutes before they punched it over. Tim Lewis at the 5. 25 and struggling across the 30.
We've got a Steeler down on the field. Bob will find out his number in just a minute.
While they tend to him, let's break away for just a moment.
But 45. Last week they had 135. And that may be the most telling statistic of the ball game.
The Pack is still in it because of 2 touchdowns of 70-plus from Dickey to Lofton.
Oh, great pattern.
This is Lofton making this catch. Out of bounds at the 46-yard line for a first down.
Great pattern. He runs 12 yards, hooks, turns around and heads for the end zone like he's taken off. Woodruff backs off, and then he does an out. Boy, that takes some athletic ability. And Lofton has gotten loads.
What a start to the season for him. 8 receptions last week against Houston. 9 different players caught passes from Dickey and Whitehurst a week ago. He's caught 4 today for 2 touchdowns and a total of 157 yards. Inside handoff to Gary Lewis, who has been featured in a variety of ways today. Reserve tight end in his 3rd year from Texas Arlington.
This reminds me of a college play you see a great deal. Off the wishbone, wing back reverse. That's basically what it is. And those long legs, he can get up through there in a hurry. Shows great speed for the size of that young man. One of the real specialists that the Green Bay Packers have. When he comes in, they either throw it to him or give it to him or blocks a kick.
And a first down at the Pittsburgh 43. Meade carries. He's seen occasional duty today. And he's stacked up after a gain of 2, maybe 3. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Well, after falling behind 10-0, the Cowboys took charge at St. Louis, 24-10, the latest touchdown midway through the third, a 19-yard Ron Springs run. The Giants in Atlanta battling 10-6 New York in the third quarter. And Detroit over Cleveland also in the third by a field goal. Eddie Murray just hit from 44 yards out. They've still got 9 minutes to play in the third quarter in that one.
Keith Willis to the sideline. That's an injury they certainly cannot afford. They only have 4 healthy defensive linemen. We'll count Bob Coors as the 5th, but with Senior Sack at home and Gary Dunn at home. Goodman out.
Second down, and let's call it 7 for the Pack. Eddie Lee Ivory to the 35-yard line. This will be 3rd and 2.
Willis back in the ball game.
Only a week ago in the Denver broadcast, Trump, we were talking about how deep the Steelers are along that defensive line. Well, that depth has been sorely tested. They've got guys beat up all over the place.
Number
There's
54.
Bingham.
Greg Bingham, strained knee, will not return. Heard on that play just before we went to commercial. Hopefully he's all right.
And one of the 2 better than 500 seasons have come in the last 2 years. So the signs of progress are there. They need a couple. Eddie Lee Ivory.
Oh!
He may have run himself right out of the first down there, Trump. If he had taken another direction, he had it.
Or at least take the hit. He was between Mel Blount and Jack Lambert, and I don't blame him for trying to squeeze through him, but if he turns up right there, well, it may have cost him the first down. It's going to be close enough that they measure. And I think he's mad at himself. I think he realizes, well, what he did.
If they don't have it here, Trump,
got to go for it.
I would think they would.
Sure. Got to go for it.
If you turn it over, you're just giving it to them at the 33, so that's not disastrous.
They're
and
short.
They are short. Now you try to punt from here, the odds are against you getting it into the coffin corner. So if it's a touchback, your net gain is only 13 yards, so well worth it to go for it here on 4th and about a foot.
Want to pick a play? Coach, want to pick a play?
Well, let's see who they come out with as their running backs.
I'd pick a lead play. Let's see if we can pick out which way they're going to go here.
I say they go to Eddie Lee Ivory off left tackle.
I'll take right tackle.
You called it. He didn't get much, but he squirted off the initial contact and got what he needed.
Second effort. That's the design of that play. You try to create a crowd there. Let's give a tip of the cap to number 39, Mike Mead. Good lead block up front. You see it. Coors hits him head on. And then Eddie Lee Ivory spins and picks up the first down. The Packers are once again in business.
Ball on the 31. First down.
Now look at this. They got J.J. and Lofton side by side. Shell and Blunt in coverage.
But they'll keep it on the ground with Meade carrying. Short yardage on first down. The clock running. 11 and a half minutes remaining. 23-14. The Steelers lead it. Should it become relevant later, the Packers have 2 timeouts left. Steelers have the full complement of 3. Now Jefferson to the right and Lofton to the left. Almost trouble on the connection.
Almost. He threw it to him.
But it worked out, didn't
Yes.
it? They got the first down.
Yes, that's not the way the coaches draw it up, but watch Dickey. Let's see. Doesn't he throw this to him? Yes, he does. Well,
He stuck it in there.
that's a 41-inch arm stretch there. He does finally get it in, but Dickey tripped over his own feet.
Yeah, Ivory gets the first down at the 20.
They may have that play on the ready list next week.
Keeping it on the ground on this drive. Ivory outside 15 and down to about the 12 as we check with NFL 83 in New York. Take it, fellas.
Thank you, Bob Costas. Controversy in Cincinnati. Turk Schonert now at quarterback for the Bengals. Anderson knocked out. Chris Collinsworth, did he have it or not? The official ruled him out of bounds. The Bengals came up empty on the drive. They still trail. Back to you.
Oh, and the Bengal woes continue. If they lose this one, the phone lines on your talk show will be hot, Trump.
They are already hot. That means Turk Schonert will now be a quarterback for the Bengals, replacing Ken Anderson. Second and short here for Green Bay. Throw it on this down.
They're thinking the same way. Does he have a target? Yeah, touchdown. Lofton is third of the game. Why not? He ought to slap five with everybody in Lambeau Field if he can do it.
Secret there is excellent protection. Look at those stats. Those are outrageous. And then you see Lofton right at you. And watch the time that Dickey has. 1,002, 1,003, 2 pumps. And looks back to his ace receiver, James Lofton. Why not? 6 points, and they're back in the ball game. 23-20.
This won't do. We'll have to sort this one out.
Let's watch James Lofton from the snap of the ball on that last play. Dwayne Woodruff in coverage. That's speed against speed. Not even a fake to the outside. Taves underneath. Good hands catch by James Lofton. A lot of receivers will let that ball come to their body. No, he uses his hands.
The last time any receiver caught 3 touchdown passes in a single game against Pittsburgh, it was the great Paul Warfield, who has since gone into the Hall of Fame for the Cleveland Browns in 1971.
You mean 3 touchdown passes?
Isn't that what I said?
I thought you said 3 passes, but
3 touchdown passes.
yeah, that's good company.
I didn't say it. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Stenerud connects. And now, as we get to the late stages, that block kick could be very important. It's just a 2-point differential. Pittsburgh was offsides on the conversion. They tacked the 5 yards on the kickoff, so Stenerud boots from a 40, sending Odom back into the end zone, and he says, I'll stay right here.
Smile certainly deserved for James Lofton. What a day.
Everybody gets in on the celebration here. Lynn Dickey has now thrown 8 touchdown passes in less than 2 games, and Lofton has caught half of them. Imagine to have Lofton and Jefferson as your wide receivers, a Pro Bowler in Coughlin as your tight end, and Philip Epps can't crack the starting lineup.
And these fans, they certainly help too.
Roaring at Lambeau, their team just down by 2 now. 10-12 remaining. Taking a lot of time.
6 seconds left.
Pollard gets the call and a gain of 3.
I have a feeling the Green Bay Packer fans are cheering because the Green Bay Packer defense finally stopped the rush up the middle. Dallas now pouring it on St. Louis, 31-10. Fumble recovery by Dennis Thurman in the end zone for the last touchdown.
The Bears and the Bucks tied at 10. Again, he's got the first down, and Pollard is to the 40-yard line of the Steelers. Saw that Tampa Bay score. Did you see the quote by one of their players, who shall remain nameless, asked about last week's defeat? He told the reporter, well, there are 28 teams in the National Football League, and today 12 of them won and 12 of them lost.
Let's hope that wasn't the quarterback. No, I tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers are knocking on 300 yards rushing against this Green Bay defense. And what they want to do right now is consume as much time as they can off the clock by running the football.
Franco. 3 yards before they slam him down. Mike Douglas and Ezra Johnson made the defensive play. 8:45 left.
On this day, holding Pittsburgh rushing to 3 yards on a single down is a great accomplishment for Green Bay. I think they're over 50 rushes now.
2nd and 7. Ball on the 43-yard line.
If this gets into a field goal battle, both the youngster Anderson of Pittsburgh and the 17-year veteran Stenerud of Green Bay have the great range. Stenerud hit 2 of better than 40 yards, including the game winner in overtime last week. They pitch it back to Franco after faking the inside handoff, and Franco bangs for the first down at the 49 of Green Bay.
How about that one? Did you see Nebraska play Penn State?
Mm-hmm.
That's a college play out of the wishbone. Watch the blocking. You see Douglas bites on the inside. He pitches it out to Franco Harris. Larry Brown kicks out the defensive end. 73 Braggs, and first down play. I'll bet that's I would be willing to bet that is it's a goal line play that they pulled out there in a crucial situation.
Coming down to 7.5 left. Franco again. Gets 5 yards on first down. Pretty consistently, the first down yardage has been what they'd want.
It has absolutely killed the Green Bay Packers this entire day. Look at that average. Now, the Packers' average is somewhat distorted because of the long plays to James Lofton. The Steelers' average, look at that, 4.6.
Exactly 7 minutes remaining. As Stout bends in behind Webster from the 44-yard line and gives to Pollard. Who is he ranked? Right into the arms of Byron Braggs, number 73.
How about, tell you what, I hate to be so declarative about this, but when the season started and before Mike Butler went to the United States Football League, my pick in the NFC was Green Bay because of their offensive capability. Washington now over Philadelphia 17-10. After looking at this defense, Cincinnati losing to Buffalo 10-6. After watching this defense, I think I made the wrong pick. Green Bay's defense has got to be a lot stouter than it's displayed today, unfortunately.
On 3rd and 2, the pitch to Franco. They were stout this time. He's short.
Rather odd, wouldn't you think? Wingo on the tackle and Anderson. But Pittsburgh has had great success up the middle of the Green Bay Packer defensive line, and yet in a very crucial situation, they run the ball to the outside. They may look back on that play and say, wrong choice. We should have gone right back to where we've been most successful all day long. Big play by the Green Bay defense.
Now Colquitt standing at about his own 45. He'll meet it at midfield. Epps signals for a fair catch and takes it at the 11.
That's Q Lofton.
5 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. The Packers, who trails by 2 at 23-21. Lofton in motion gingerly. Hello to Mike Mead.
Stuffed.
Right into the steel curtain.
Shame on you.
They don't want it called that anymore.
No, they don't.
And I guess in deference to the great steel curtain of the mid and late 70s, maybe we shouldn't call it that.
Although people in Pittsburgh are saying that this is depth-wise a better defensive football team. Dallas still remains on top of St. Louis, 31-14.
Make it 17.
Excuse me, 17.
Mitchell touchdown run in the fourth quarter of St. Louis. Giants lead in the fourth at Atlanta, 13-6. Under 5 minutes to play here. Off the fingertips of Kaufman.
Boy, that's close to interference. That is very close to interference. I think Mike Merriweather was very, very lucky that they didn't throw a flag on him there. Trying to get Paul Kaufman, the tight end. Now, see, this is the difference. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense to this point has been able to stop Green Bay. And the pressure today has been on the Green Bay offense to try to keep up the scoring of Pittsburgh. There's Bart Starr. Got to be happy with his offense in 2 games. And very upset. Look at that.
Well, he's engineered so many of these closing moments drives himself. Clock is stopped with 4:42 left. Now just 1 left.
And this would be their first third down conversion, as you saw in the stat before. Good time for it.
Dickey in trouble, and down he goes. They have not been getting to him consistently, but they picked the right time with Edmund Nelson, number 64, doing the honors.
Good defensive call by Pittsburgh, too. They rushed 4 defensive linemen. Nelson got the sack, but they also had Harvey Clayton in there from the defensive backfield, the 5th defensive back. And therein lies the entire game, the story of the game. Pittsburgh able to stop Green Bay. Green Bay not able to stop Pittsburgh.
Scribner, who has had a whale of a day, from the end zone. Woods, 46-yard line of Green Bay. And to the 33-yard line of the Pack. With 1 first down, they would be well within Anderson's field goal range. Last year, on 5 kicks of between 40 and 49 yards, he was perfect, 5 for 5. This is what's coming up. After this game is over, you'll see one of these 4 games, and most of you will see Seattle and the Jets at Shea Stadium with Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
Denver versus Baltimore. Elway's first appearance.
And some bad blood waiting for him.
The Pittsburgh Steelers on the day have rushed the ball 54 times.
Last kick by Scribner, 41 yards. Pollard.
There it is.
To the 28. And a gain of 6. There's the time, moving inside 4 minutes. I am sure those fans in Baltimore are mindful of the fact that Elway didn't want to play there. They've got something to celebrate with a victory last week in overtime, so they'll be pumped up to greet Denver and Elway.
Well, the trouble is, a lot of kids that play in Baltimore don't want to play in Baltimore.
How true. Pollard carried again. They'll have 3rd and short coming up. 3:15 remaining now.
Unofficially, rushing stats for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the day: 286 yards, 56 rushes. Last week, the Steelers had 123 yards rushing. They could not win the ball game. Today, approaching 300.
They need 2, and they don't get it. The Packers are very much alive. Wingo wrapped Pollard.
Isn't that something, though? Green Bay comes up with a big defensive play in 2 successive series. You got to admire them for that.
Walk it! Come on,
They're going to try for the 3. Colquitt is going to kneel at the 34, making it a 44-yard attempt for Anderson.
Let's watch Mr. Gary Lewis.
They got a piece of it. They didn't block it, but they deflected it.
He hit it.
Same guy, Gary Lewis.
They've gotten great pressure up the middle of the Pittsburgh Steelers field goal team. It looked like a defensive man on either shoulder of the center. There you see Noel kind of shaking his hands. Watch the pressure up front. They just fold him. Gary Lewis, for the 3rd time, gets his hand on the ball. Twice he blocked it. This time he deflected it. And Green Bay now with a chance to win this football game. 2:02 to go.
Is Anderson kicking them low at all, or is it just a fine performance by Lewis?
No, it's great for defensive line on that team, and Lewis getting up high.
And now they've got more room to breathe than the last time they had the ball. Dickey keeps his feet, and it's broken up. Intended for Eddie Lee Ivory. That's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning.
To Eddie Lee Ivory.
Dickey fires it to Kaufman in between 3 defenders. Kaufman has a first down at the 42-yard line.
Flags down.
flag back in the backfield. It's going against the Packers.
Too bad. Double rotation zone there. Corners up, safeties out. Kaufman with coverage by inside linebackers. Good pattern run. First down, called back.
If they can get close enough, there's the guy who could decide it. Has he been in this situation before? Too many times to count.
He's decided a few, hasn't he? Here's the call.
Chop block, number 54, second down.
I called a chop block on the center. What happens is he set, or the guard set, the defensive lineman up, and then with contact by one offensive lineman, the other guy can't chop at the defensive lineman's knees. Inopportune time for that penalty. Larry McCarron, the center, Pro Bowler last year. First offensive lineman by the Green Bay Packers since Gail Gillingham in 1974.
Inopportune is an understatement. Second down and 25. Dickey in big trouble. Watch the safety. Did he get out of the end zone? No, safety.
So now, not only does it cost them 2 points, but Pittsburgh gets the ball back.
As they prepare to kick a free kick from their 20, keep this in mind with 1:40 remaining. It is legal to attempt an onside kick on a free kick after a safety, and we might see it here.
Onside kick or punt, you are absolutely correct. The immobility of Lynn Dickey cost him there. Good, big defensive play by Pittsburgh. Very costly. Very costly. But when you look back at this football game, that play will get a lot of attention. That is not the reason the Green Bay Packers have lost the game. One reason and one reason alone. And that's the ability all day long of the Pittsburgh Steelers to run the football. That's it. They have controlled the line of scrimmage from their offensive side, and Green Bay simply could not stop Pittsburgh all day long.
About 3 years ago at the Orange Bowl, I saw Don Shula and the Dolphins use an onside kick after a safety against the Bengals to help them pull out a comeback victory. Considering the fact that they have just one timeout left, the Packers almost have to try it here, but it won't surprise anybody if they do, and that's the difference between the two situations.
Now, wait a minute. If you look at the defensive front, or the offensive front of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they have 5 guys up, but there are 5 big guys. You got Merriweather, you got Corzine, you got David Little. 74 is Kirchner. They're not expecting an onside kick or punt. They've got big people up there. Bob Coors is the other guy on the outside. They do not have what is commonly referred to as their hands team up there. We'll see what happens, and they're going to kick it too. Pittsburgh is not prepared for this now.
They don't disguise their intentions at all. They punch it into that open area, and it's covered up. A Steeler has it at the 40-yard line of Green Bay.
Wayne Capers, I believe, covered the ball.
So the Steelers with the 25-21 lead, and barring a fumble, this game is theirs, and both teams will be 1-1. I've been asked to speak to our viewers in the Kansas area who last week expected to see Kansas City play Seattle, and parts of Kansas did not get that game because of a telephone company error. So on behalf of all of us at NBC Sports, we apologize, even though it technically was not our fault. We're sorry for the inconvenience. We know you wanted to see your home team, and because of the telephone company error, weren't able to do so. Pollard is brought down. They can use their last timeout here. As we tell you, this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited.
Will you do me a favor?
Sure.
Next week, just say, look, you can't show this game without first asking.
I'd be happy
Doesn't that cover
do
it?
that. Hey, if they let me do it, I would do it.
Who is they?
The great powers that be, the powers that won't let you broadcast this game without express written consent.
Okay.
They won't let me say it that way.
I just wanted
without
it.
express written consent. I'll let you read it from now on, okay?
Let's say it.
Abercrombie. Stopped by Douglas. Now the Packers use that timeout with 46 seconds left. It's doubtful that Dickey will get another chance. Back to Lambeau after this. seconds to go, the Steelers could face 4th down. And going to throw in this situation.
He's going to try to use up as much time as possible.
He's going to throw the ball. Incomplete.
That stops the clock.
With 40 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm rather surprised. Best thing to do would be for him to run around back there. Washington. 20-10 over Philadelphia. Well, now you got to punt it. Chicago over Tampa. 17-10.
The scenario I was envisioning would have been another running play, stopped short of the 1st down. They let the full 30 seconds go, and with 10 seconds to go, they've got to either kick or run another play. Clock stops on change of possession. Maybe the Packers have 5-6 seconds to try for a miracle. Now they've got 40 seconds to play with. No timeouts, however.
Which is 3 plays.
Colquitt's kick. Packers hope it'll go into the end zone, and it does, and out.
Well,
I think the Steelers have done the Packers a little bit of a favor here. It's still the longest of long shots, but before it wasn't the slightest glimmer of a hope.
you know, I got a feeling, too, that Chuck Noll certainly did not want Cliff Stout to throw that football to stop the clock. And I think the design was run around back there, roll out of the pocket a little bit, but not take a chance. Certainly not go out of bounds in the last 2 minutes. You've given Green Bay life. And understand, of course, that their defensive backs are going to be 50 yards deep. Stranger things have happened.
Lofton left, Epps and Jefferson both right. Screen, Eddie Lee Ivory. They have no timeouts remaining, remember. Clock's going to run as he's stopped in the middle of the field at the 35.
Now they got to stop it. Throw it out of bounds. Let them regroup.
It's taking an awfully long time to line up.
Throw it out of bounds.
They get the completion, and Ivory out of bounds at the 42 with 5 seconds. The safety a moment ago made it a 4-point differential at 25-21, so they need the touchdown.
Not very efficient in the last 2 minutes. Actually, the last 40 seconds here. Look for a little better than that.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Wiseman. The coordinating producer of NFL football, Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game in Green Bay, produced by Kenneth Edmondson, directed by John Gonzalez. Technical director Steve Cimino. Associate director Doug Grabert. Associate producer Michael Hadley. And thanks to all the camera people, audio people, all the technicians who helped on our crew here today.
You got to throw it in the end zone, get it as far as they possibly can down the...
Well, it's over the middle with Jefferson looking for the lateral. And that's it as Kaufman goes down. Time runs out on the Packers. And despite the 3 touchdown passes from Dickey to Lofton, 2 of them are better than 7.